Welcome to B-Rated, B-Rated Conversations. Join us as we talk to the creative people behind the independent movies and get the behind-the-scenes stories. Well, thank you for being here. We're here with Scott Lewis, Steve Rudzinski from, we're going to talk about Scream Park today.
Yes, we are.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us. It's a pleasure to be back. Is this my third time?
Third time.
I was about to say, I believe it is.
Wow.
This is my first
third, so
yeah.
So we're get this one good then, right? So Steve, Scott, you'll be like, all right, let's go back onto those guys. I see that Scott and I are, partaking in a beverage.
Of course.
I got drunk last night, so I'm sober tonight.
I'm going to get drunk tonight and continue to drink until I think Ant and I are going to record tonight. So since I started right now, might as well just continue strong for we'll probably do the 10-hour binge, right?
Yeah, we were planning on doing our episode tonight on this one.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you guys. It was I don't know. Are we going to do are we spoilers? Is that
good?
The movie's well over 10 years old.
All right.
What can we even spoil?
Well, yeah. I mean, even so, for me, just starting out, like watching the trailer and then watching the actual movie, I was like, dude, the trailer even had like a twist to it. It got to the, I don't want to say with that.
That's Wild Eye. Like that's Wild Eye's trailer. Like that blame doesn't fall on Carrie Hill. That blame doesn't fall on Scott Lewis, the editor. Like that's Wild Eye. They did the same thing with Carousel when Wild Eye picked up Carousel. Their trailer that they cut for the movie put almost every single kill into the movie, including the final kill where Duke gets the kid, which is meant to be the only surprise of the movie.
Wow.
So, I mean, it is what it is. If it gets more people to buy the movie, I get it. And I definitely know of people that bought Carousel because they saw that kid kill. So, if that helps them get Scream Park sales, whatever. Like, that's their prerogative.
No, like, I thought that the movie was going to be, at the beginning of the movie, that they're talking about, you know what, the park's going under, we need to get the TV off. Bad thing to happen. So that way we can get more people into it.
But do you mind?
Yeah.
Like, did you guys ever watch the Chernobyl Diaries on HBO when it came out a couple years ago?
Yeah.
You see how much fucking people were like, hey, let's go there. That looks like a cool vacationing spot. You're just like, no, what the fuck? Like, did you see how many bad things happen right there? And they're just like, oh, let's just go. And so it was 100%. I thought that's what it was going to do was that, of course, there's the people like they do those haunted tour hotel things where you travel around. And I was like, oh, that could be. But then the actual movie started. I was like, wait a second. I know there's going to be an old man in here at some point talking about what's going on. You know?
Did you both watch the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we watched it.
And what'd you think of it?
Okay, so for me, if I had to like sum this up shortly, for me it was like missed opportunities because if you're making this movie where you have this amount of like, places to play with where not a lot of indie movies get to go, I would be like, how many square feet can I touch? Like that would be my thing.
I mean, you know how much we shot in that tiny little go-kart park for Carousel 1 and that thing was like 4 by 4 feet.
Yeah.
Like we used every ride.
But yeah, and I think like that is a testament, like if we're doing a parallel here to kind of like your creativity with Carousel and being able to do a lot with a little. Yeah. Whereas you have situations like this where there's a lot and it seems like you're doing a little.
Right. I mean, I think that, that was the biggest issue when I got into the editing bay with the footage that I saw. We had this park and we had free reign of the park. I mean, it was like we could shoot anywhere we wanted to, but there was like these tight shots of people talking and not showing any of the actual park. And that was one big issue I had when I was editing. I was like, we don't have shots of, people walking around or people on the rides or, anything.
Was that an actual park too? Like it wasn't shut down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that roller coaster with no fucking side on it.
The roller coaster was terrifying.
Yeah, it's scary. That was scary. I wrote
No, yeah. So that Conneaut Lake Park was like a bustling park for a while, and then it shut down. And so the town or city or whatever of Conneaut started building houses there and selling the property and like building a town in the park. And then someone rebought the park and reopened it while people still lived there.
Mhm.
So people lived there?
Yes. So like it's a residential town and a park at the
Mhm.
same time. And I think the park finally closed down again, and I think for good. But yeah, so it was very surreal because you would see people just living their lives like on their front porch and in their house directly next to this roller coaster that's just going all season long.
Well, remember the bar that we shot in? That burned down first, I think.
Yes.
What?
And then it went through different owners, and then owners were like trying to revive the park, but then kids were
They didn't kill anyone there, which would have worked.
which would have been the plan. But the owners tried to revive the park, and they said screw it. And then the hotel was the big draw, as it's like supposedly haunted.
Yeah, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many of my co-stars says, Steve, what'd you hear last night? Because of the haunted hotel. I was just like, ghosts are real, man. I don't know what to tell you. I slept fine. There was no sounds.
No, I noticed there was even
No, my keys fell. Like, I think you put your keys on the table shittily.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you want me to react to about your keys fucking falling.
Yeah, it's not. But that was like one of the big cool things about the whole production was that we were going to this park. We were going to stay. We actually stayed in the hotel for like later on in the production after we came back because we had a summer house.
Well, the actors stayed in the hotel for like the first 2 full weeks we were there,
In the
which was
production.
supposed to be the only shooting schedule at first.
At first.
The
The production crew stayed in a summer house that was across the lake. And, we'll get into, the whole beginning of it is really convoluted. How I got involved, how Steve got involved, and how we met. That's a whole other story.
But in terms of, this specific topic of not seeing enough of the park, as is in the final film, most of the park footage is specifically because of Scott Lewis.
Yeah.
Because Scott was kind of, by accident, handed the reins to edit this movie for no pay. Because the director was going to edit the film and then said, I don't know how to edit, actually. And Scott didn't want everyone's year of hard work to go into the garbage, which was possible at that point. So he basically cut the movie pro bono. Him and Liz scored the movie pro bono because the director blew all of his budget on the orchestra to play only the opening theme song.
Mhm.
One song.
And then, it was a case where there was a 1 day shoot where I got to work with Doug Bradley, which was very early, and that's fine. And then there was a 2 or 3 day shoot at the studio, which was earlier than the park stuff for the security room stuff, and that's all fine. And then the main part of the shoot was supposed to be 2 weeks to Conneaut, and then we would be wrapped. And then we had to go back to Conneaut a couple months later. Then we had to go back to Conneaut a couple months later. Then we had to go back to Conneaut a few months after that in order to get all these scenes and footage that they just wouldn't get the first time because they wasted so much time on extra takes. But then no B-roll, no establishing shots, no nothing. So Scott basically was going up there at one point with just the camera by himself to get all of these insert shots of the rise in motion of the people there. It's his idea that wide shot with the lake, that was Scott Lewis's idea to get that shot. Otherwise, that would have just been all close-ups of I don't remember character names anymore. The goth redhead,
Jenny?
Roy.
No, it was
the goth redhead, not the punk 40-year-old man.
No,
Dude, Roy had red hair. I was waiting for his ass to get whooped.
the girl
Ever
got
since
her
he
throat
first started.
slit. She got a throat slit, and then she dumped into the water.
Oh, and she fell into the water.
Yeah, but the thing is, they didn't get the shot of a close-up of her face, so that was done months later in my backyard in a kiddie pool.
All right.
I did the actual makeup on her neck. And then
We don't even have to get into the fact that they gave the effects guy a studio and a budget, and he came to the set with nothing.
Yeah.
And just took nude photos of one of the actresses the whole time.
Ew.
The bathroom scene.
Oh, yeah.
No.
That wasn't that one?
No. Oh, I'm sorry. It's that actress.
That's
Oh,
I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
I was like, I'm pretty sure because one of my comments was like, I appreciate your guys' wardrobe, you know, for the the one lady trying to crawl away.
Mhm.
But man,
But yeah,
Well,
so
really.
like you mentioned it a little bit because I was going to ask you, Scott. Like
Yeah.
I looked in the IMDb, like you wear a lot of hats in this movie, and I was like, how does this happen? That one
Uh,
person is like because when you mentioned to me initially, Steve, that like a lot like nobody got paid, like how does one person end up taking on this much in a movie where nobody sees a dime? Like that to me
right.
is insanity.
Well, to go back, I worked with Kerry at Apple, and I saw him in California one year, about a year before the movie started, and he said he was coming back to Pittsburgh to shoot a horror film. And I was like, awesome. If there's something I can do, let me know.
Oh, he let you know.
Well,
well,
he
you
didn't.
offered.
That
Hold
was
on.
the problem.
Levi, I need you to not talk.
I
You
hit
can
him
talk,
up
please.
like
You can listen
probably
if
the
you're not
week
talking.
before they started that first day of production. And I said, what can I do? Maybe if you have all of these slots filled, maybe I'll do behind the scenes for you. And just shoot behind the scenes and make it into like, you know, a bonus for the DVD. And he was like, oh, that'd be great. And the first day on set, I met Steve at PCTV. And they were shooting the scene with Brian in the control room.
Security guard.
The security guard picking up a cup of coffee. And I went in there and I watched them set up this shot. And they literally took all day to shoot a 2-second shot. Him looking at the monitors, him getting up and leaving. And it was take after take after take.
Well, you knew that Henry,
It-
the security officer, he was getting too old for that shit.
Henry was the best.
It felt like a major Hollywood studio set where there's too many hands and too much money, so they're able to kind of waste a lot of time. Except they didn't have Hollywood money or the amount of Hollywood help on a Hollywood set.
Right.
So to this day, I do not understand the amount of wasted time on this shoot.
Mm-hmm.
I do not.
Me either.
It drives me insane. He has, according to Scott and other people I know, this director has given me a lot of backhanded insults over the fact that I finish my films on schedule.
Yeah.
And it's as if he just thinks this is how you're supposed to make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of getting what he actually needs, he's like, I need to spend 8 hours on this shot, instead of saying, like, I need this shot. We got it. Move on.
Now, granted, you know, to give him some credit.
No, we should defend him whenever he deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, he was new to this, but I was also new to this. Steve was way more experienced. Steve has been making his films way before this.
You can listen if you're not talking.
So his intense anger was palpable. But for me, I was like, I don't know what's going on right now. But what happened on that day was that me and Steve kind of commiserated, and me and Steve became friends.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, we were shooting Steve's scene with Wendy that happens later in the film. And they were like, who's doing audio? And I was like looking around like, you don't have an audio guy?
Wow.
And they were like, you want to do audio? And I was like, I guess so. I'm here. So I turned out to be the audio guy for the whole production because they didn't have anybody. And I was like, how could you get a production going with all this money and not factor in one of the most important pieces, most important parts of the production?
Yeah, like not even like a professional sound mixer or something like that. Just like someone to be audio.
Yeah. So I went out and I actually, the next day, I bought a boom pole. I bought a microphone because they were using like stuff that you put on top of cameras, you know, those little mics. And we were hand holding those to get Steve and Wendy's audio. And I was like, this is stupid. This is not working. So I went out and bought a whole bunch of audio gear because they asked me to be audio guy. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll do it because you guys didn't think about this, which is insane.
I remember that first day. It has nothing to do with what Scott's talking about, but it's a part of the story that I never get to tell much because it's not in like the core part of the park or where we were shooting. But it was that first day, and it's supposed to be after Wendy and I, the lead actress of the film, and I just got done running away from the slashers. So we were told, like, you just got done running, you're tired. So like we were panting and pretending to be tired. He was just like, no, cut. Go run a bunch of laps in the studio so that you're actually tired. I was just like, I tried explaining to him, like, Carrie, I jog miles without getting tired. Like, I'm in shape. Doing 3 laps isn't going to make this more real. Refused to listen to me. So I did the 3 laps, pretending like I was tired. He's like, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, I'm just acting.
Oh, damn it.
Dipshit. Like, this is just acting.
Which I think there was something similar. I don't know if you remember this one, Brian. When we talked to
Brightwood,
the Brightwood people, that there were the lead actress in the movie did like a bunch of running before the movie, and she like would run so hard during the scene. They were like, you have to slow down because like we can hear your heartbeat through the microphone, and it's taking over the sound.
Yeah, but Steve is an actor. He didn't need to go run. He just needed to be told, you're out of breath.
You're out of breath. Yeah. Like that's
all
called acting. Yeah.
You guys because it's when you're shooting a film and you guys know it's out of sequence. So they just went through a whole bunch of stuff, and then, you want to, for continuity, you want to have it match a little bit. You were sprayed, you would sweat, right? Water.
Yeah. And that was fine. Absolutely. Make me look sweaty. Yeah.
But you gotta understand, there was 2 shots that day, the first day that I was on set, and it took all night.
Damn.
But
wow,
that wasn't the first shot. The first shot, the sequence that they did was Doug Bradley.
And that was my first day.
Right. And what happened is, I wasn't there. I wasn't even invited. I didn't even know it was happening. But what they did is they screwed up the audio by putting the lavalier mic. They had one. They put it on the wrong actor.
Oh no!
So like Steve's on camera doing his lines, and the lav is on Doug Bradley, who's not on camera. And then they screwed up the audio with Doug Bradley. And I didn't know this till I was editing the scene, and I said, what the fuck is this? Because
Scott, I'm gonna.
The microphone.
I don't think you have the full story.
Okay.
There were no lavs on set.
Oh, no lav. Okay.
They just put the Zoom on a table.
Oh.
With no boom mic, and then hit record as if that would take care of it. And I even said, "Is that going to be enough?"
Right. Okay. So what happened?
And no, it wasn't.
It was picking up the wrong. Like it wasn't picking up anybody who was talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I figured there was one scene. I think it was when they were at the what do you call it? The game where her audio, it seemed kind of weird.
Oh, it's because it was pouring rain.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because I was like,
they had the door open to keep her dry, which is smart. But then they just
I wasn't there for that.
Yeah, Scott wasn't there.
I was thinking that it was far away because it seemed like I was like, it sounds like they recorded and then had to go back over and just be like, okay, just say your lines again.
That was ADR.
Dubbed over.
That was ADR. There was because it was unusable audio. So I actually had Wendy came to my house. I had Doug Bradley come to my house to do all of his overdubbing for his only one scene.
Oh,
then I had to cut in to try to match exactly what he was doing, and it doesn't work that great. I mean, I did the best job I could. You got to understand, I never edited a film before. I never did audio mixes. I never did special effects. I never did music for a film. I took all that stuff upon myself because I said, somebody's got to do it, and somebody's got to do it fast.
Well, damn, man. I mean,
So
we don't do this stuff, but it looks like it turned out good.
Well,
it
yeah, I
turned out
mean,
better than it would have.
I think you found your calling in this then, because from what it sounds like, I mean, like this movie does feel like it feels like the best way I can say it feels competent. It feels like we have characters. It feels like even though we don't really get to get depth into the characters, it really feels like there's a story in it.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that's a compliment to you.
I guess. I mean,
No, it is. That is all thanks to Scott. You know, like keeping the
It
flow
is.
going, cutting everything together where it matters. The script was fine. Like when I read it, it read like a solid '80s inspired slasher film.
Yeah.
It is just one of those cases where like I was able to see more of the film than what we were getting shot on set, which is the bummer of it.
yeah, the bottom line, I think, when I kind of cracked was I told him, I said, shoot the fucking script. Period.
That makes sense.
You wrote this fucking script. You guys are just dilly-dallying and all this bullshit.
Oh, I'll have more stories about that.
Just shoot the fucking script.
Yeah, I also had my own explosions near the end. We can get to that as we go, but I will say before I forget, one of the earliest moments of me noticing kind of the cracks in, I guess, just the leadership is that I was at the first read-through for the script with the other actors. It was at someone's house, which is fine. Like, that's not a knock at all. It's an independent film, regardless of how much money you have. It's an indie film. You're probably going to be reading in someone's living room or, these days on Discord. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But we got to the scene in the script where it was the fry oil kill.
Yeah.
And Carrie Hill was just like, this is going to be the best thing. This is going to get us so much notice because we're the first ever horror movie to kill someone in a fryer. And I immediately said, did you not see Friday the 13th 9? Jason Goes to Hell, the very major Sleepaway Camp, drive-through, another like lower budget indie horror film. Like I just named immediately 3 horror films. You're just like, oh, well, ours is going to be different. And I was at that point, I was like, I don't think it is, but I'm just an actor. I maybe he's right. I don't know. He's the director. Maybe he's right. I don't know. I knew.
Well, I think he was adding insult to injury for that kill because while he was frying her face, he was also dry fucking her.
Yeah.
Like if you watch her, he's all like,
if they put more emphasis on that, I think that would have been really interesting. But oh my God, my character was sold to me as creepy old man pervert. My character was sold to me as, everyone, you fucking spy on these girls, you watch them get undressed, like you're just a skeevy piece of shit. And then we get to set, and the way I'm directed and the way that I performed it as directed, I watched the movie and Marty is just pretty normal. Like the only, like he has a crush on a girl that is way too young.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's it though. Like when he gets rejected, he just goes, okay, and deals with it. The only at all hint of my character being a pervert is another character claiming I'm a pervert.
Yeah. That was one of my things was you're supposed to be this creepy guy, and then it becomes tell don't show when there was so much that could have been done with that.
I was so ready to be skeevy.
Yeah.
I was practicing it, and every time I was skeevy, I was told, whoa, don't do it like that. That's weird.
Yeah. Well,
I kind of got the creepy feel, man. It was pretty funny. You look like I was waiting for them to zoom out and have your New Balances on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's one shot, I think, where he looks at Kelly's tits, and then he's like...
Even that I played like it was a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just like I was like...
Yeah.
It was like it was oogas, not...
Yeah. Another funny one was like on Scary Movie, where they take his glasses off and his eyes are all fucked up. Then she's like, I can help you with that. He's like, I can do it myself. And he starts filleting himself. When she took your glasses off, I was like, oh my God, I got the same feel from that. Yeah. That it was just that funny ass thing where she took your glass off. You're just like, like you got a semi right there. Because your freaking glasses.
The thing with Carrie is, he was in over his head. And
that's fine, honestly.
It is fine, but and it all came out afterwards. But on set, it's like you got to direct. I mean, I don't know if Steve touched on it, but we have a scene where you're shooting and there's 15 takes and you're doing the same exact thing and not getting any direction. That is really infuriating for an actor. Because they're like, why are we doing this again and again and again? What do you want me to do?
Mm-hmm.
And there was no direction in that for a lot of the shoot. It was just like, oh, let's do it again. Oh, that was good. Let's do it again. Why
Yeah,
would we do it again if it was good?
I don't know what part of which story I want us to tell before like these gentlemen get into their questions and like moving through the film.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if you want to move through the film and ask as we go along, or if you just want us to go nuts.
I mean,
I have a couple funny notes.
Well,
yeah,
I gotta say one thing. On my screen, it's just a dead line, but I can.
No, you're
see
good.
It.
Yeah, I can see you on here.
Okay,
yeah.
Is it recording?
It's recording. I can hear you perfectly.
All right. Just curious. Go ahead.
This is just a prank on you, Scott.
But no, I was going to ask.
I'm ask you to edit it later. I'm glad you knew how to do audio because we're actually hitting you up.
Yeah.
If ADR your whole interview tonight.
God damn it! I'm not writing this down.
But I was going to ask about the Doug Bradley scene. I think scene is like I'm using that word liberally. That I felt like we get a half of the scene, and like I'm not trying to backseat direct, but it's like there's so much more that could have been done with that. Where it's like,
sure,
we get the front half of the conversation that like you claim to have with Doug Bradley, and then like this was the time of the like the mega like spoiler reel moment, where you could have thrown in that that like the part at the back end like they did in the Saw movies with the tension filled music, and it plays better when he goes to look at the skull or the head in his locker.
Oh, with Steve's character, yeah. Well, what the whole spoiler kind of thing with Doug in the middle of the film was what it was. It was a spoiler. Now we know that, oh shit, Marty's in on it, because he knows about what Doug Bradley's character is doing. But I pitched to them to do a shot later or at the same time in the edit where you see either Marty or Doug Bradley, and I thought it was Marty, hiring the two killers, like at a table.
Yeah, I think something like that would have like played better, because like for me it just feels like he literally tells her like I'm the killer, and she's like okay, or like I helped the killers. It's like okay, cool. Like,
well, he's blaming it on the park owner.
Yeah, he's saying, I had no idea they were going to do this shit.
I thought he was joshing me.
Yeah,
but it almost like doesn't.
I thought it was going to be a coupon day.
Yeah,
but like for her, like it just seems like it doesn't register that like he did a really bad thing. That
no, it does register to her, but I don't think it comes across as
not great. Yeah. And I think that's like the shooting stuff you guys were talking about.
The whole fucking Blake thing, Navik. I wanted to, like she keeps talking about Blake. Where's Blake? My boyfriend Blake. Mm-hmm. And then you see a guy who's beheaded.
I think what drives me the most insane about Blake is that the entire setup of continuously talking about Blake feels like you're supposed to reveal that Blake is one of the killers.
Yeah.
But we immediately find out who the killers are, and they are not Blake.
Yeah.
So, like, what the fuck are we doing here with this mystery?
Yeah. So I proposed a shot. I said, can we do a shot where we get more sympathy for Wendy's character?
No.
And she is
play with it.
Basically taking care of her grandmother.
You don't play with it. One.
And then
2, hands off.
Blake comes to pick her up. So we see Blake and he brings her to the park, and then they
okay.
So you get to see like Wendy's this sweet girl, very innocent, and she's taking care of her grandmother. And then Blake comes, and we get to be introduced to Blake, and then they split off, and they never see each other for the rest. That would have made more sense to me because you know who Blake is now.
You at least see
a killer. I mean, these are like simple tropes that they weren't in the script, but I said, let's punch this thing up. And then, of course, there was no money to do it and no time.
You had months. Going back and forth to that place. You should have just rented the porch cabin out, and then as many times you had to go back and forth from there.
Well, as I said, a lot of that stuff wound up getting shot here and up the street from my house, in my yard. Like a lot of the kills we didn't have shot because the makeup artist didn't have them ready. So I had to actually figure out how to do makeup special effects.
Wow.
And
there was the one kill that Henry, the security officer, and like, I don't know. But I'd like to point out
whenever I watch that movie with a new group of people, I'm usually very drunk, but before the movie even starts, and I'm just like, hey guys, so if you had one black character in your movie, what is the way you would not kill him?
But not even not kill him. But like, that's my big one. I was like, was that a noose?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. How would you not kill your only black character? And 9 times out of 10, someone's like, lynch it? No.
Well, yeah, I can think of a couple that maybe we don't go there.
It's still a death, I guess.
You gotta understand, Brian, who played Henry, is awesome, dude. Absolutely one of the best guys.
He was very sexually aggressive with me.
Yeah.
But aside from that, he was awesome.
I heard. As soon as
I blame him.
Great, probably one of the best actors besides Steve in the movie. But the fact that we were doing this to him and how long it took to set up made me so uncomfortable. The longer it went.
Got locked up.
I think he froze.
What happened?
Oh, you just locked up.
You froze for a second.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. But I'm saying it was uncomfortable, and it got more uncomfortable because it took all night to do.
Really?
Yeah, and he was a trooper with it. You know, he really did that. We lifted him up in this harness. It was a rough time.
Get out of their cage now.
The all night was a continuous problem with everything. My first day in the park.
Get away from
first of all, I got there at the time I was supposed to get there, and I was already telling them, like, so I need to check into the hotel when I get there because I'm bringing my cat.
Yeah.
Like, this was when I was living alone. I didn't have many friends in the area I was living in. I was just like, I'm not going to leave my cat alone in my apartment for 2.5, 3 straight weeks. Like, that's my one line in the sand. I need to bring my cat.
Stop touching it now.
So I get to the location, and I'm like, okay, so I need to go check into the hotel. They're like, oh, you won't be able to check. We're going to shoot with you for a while first. It's going to be a while. I'm like, no, I'm putting my cat in a hotel room. And Scott, fought for me because we became friends on that previous get together at the studio, and like butted heads with Carrie, saying like, you need to get these fuckers into their hotel room.
You and Wendy.
Yeah. So we at least got one room. We got our own separate rooms, but at least we got one room to get into. At first, I was able to put my cat there. Hours go by before they ever start shooting with Wendy and I. So my cat would have been on the floor of my car for 11 hours at this point if I didn't fight on this. And then we finally get to what our first shot is, which is us walking and talking. It is freezing because it's the lake. I think this was early. This was like April or something. So it was very cold. We take off our winter coats, and it's this like 4-foot long PVC dolly shot, which is fine because, we've done PVC dolly stuff. But like, it wasn't set up correctly, and we did 23 takes of this walk, and none of them worked. And after all of that, finally at like 4 a.m., they were like, okay, that's a wrap. And then we had to do that take again, except this time, like a couple days later, they set up a 16-foot long dolly track, which is even worse idea, but somehow that worked. But like, that was the very first day of experience of just taking hours and hours to even do anything, and then hours and hours to do like 2 pages of dialogue tops.
The first day was the ending. In the ambulance, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that took all day too. And it was just Wendy talking, you walking away. We shot the whole locker thing like way later.
Way later.
Yeah. Because we didn't have the head.
Like, I know we're missing something.
Yeah.
How are we going to wrap this whole thing up?
All right.
I
Well,
know we're missing something.
so I would love you guys to go from the beginning of the movie and go, what the fuck happened there? And then,
All right, let me put the TV back on.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I thought it was at least edited. Now that you're the one that's saying that you edited, I thought it was edited like you're saying. It could have been better,
Yeah.
or it is better than what it should have been, or. But I thought it was pretty fun. Like, we genuinely like just watching movies
Yeah.
and doing them. And then what we do is we just talk and make jokes about what we see in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, Steve, your character looked like a dad who just got done, mowing a yard or something. So seeing Steve dressed like that to all the other movies that we've seen, Carousel and everything like that, you're just like, dude, it's funny to see you in, I don't want to say like a professional role. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had the khakis and you had you were trying to be the adult there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, don't drink over here, go over there. You're just like, what, Steve? That's not you, man. But it was hilarious. I loved it. It was funny.
That's great.
Then-
I think what Scott was saying, though, not just your general thoughts, but what were your what Scott was pitching was do you have the step-by-step, scene-by-scene questions of the movie in chronological order from start to finish of what the fuck was this, how long did this take, why was this like this?
Yeah, nope. I think that a big one, like we said, the kills.
Yeah.
I think, and Anthony already mentioned them, was that there weren't a lot of. They didn't utilize the amusement park enough.
Right. Yeah.
Like how you were even saying, there was technically 2 kills that required that roller coaster. Or I guess an air fryer. Let's say 3. I don't have a big old air fryer. God damn it. A deep fryer. I don't have a deep fryer at my house. So thinking back to all the kills, of there could have been. And so I guess just your thoughts on, why or how come, because you mentioned before we started recording, the last one where they fell into the lake, the pond, that wasn't there at all,
Well, no, that was actually there. What happened was they actually had the what's her name, Nicole. She fell into the lake. But
you said okay.
It was really cold and it was really nasty, and she went in, and then we cut to her close up of her face after we shoot to the wide across the lake. All these things happen on separate days. Because they couldn't just have, her laying in the lake and then shoot her, with the prosthetic on her neck, because there wasn't a prosthetic on her neck. I actually made the prosthetic in my basement, and it was Carrie's wife who stood in for Nicole to get her neck through the cut. Another one of the kills is when Alicia gets the axe in her head.
Oh, yeah.
That was in my basement. That was a wig on top of a mannequin head.
Damn.
When I took the guts, we took the guts out of Tony. Was his name Tony, Steve?
I think his name was Tony.
And Kevin Ogilvy pulls his guts out. That was in my basement.
Damn, really?
Yeah, I made those.
You're editing right there, man.
So I basically did 85% of the effects in the movie just by figuring it out.
With no money, no resources.
No money. I just
Wow.
my money.
I mean, just so we don't forget to bring it up, again, now that Anthony's back, we'd love to hear, if you had points or questions or concerns about the film in chronological order as we go through it, so we can, tell stuff in order. But before I forget, in case it doesn't come up, one of the kills that almost didn't happen in the film was the scalping scene.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you the story of this scalping scene. So that was Ogre's, favorite kill. From what I got from talking to him, he agreed to do the movie because he really wanted to do that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So he was supposed to be on set for 4 days. He was paid his set amount of money for the 4 days. And again, all of these shots, all of these nights are going way, way, way too long and still not getting everything done, to the point where Carrie was saying, I think we're going to have to cut that kill because like we won't be able to get to it by day 4. And Kevin stayed for free on his own dime, changing his flight, and like told his manager, like, I'm staying here, they need me for an extra day, I want to finish this. And we were able to get to the bar sequence where he does scalp Brody. And even then, even with this like amazing favor that was being done for this film by, you know, this awesome guy that has a lot of fans, and that's where a lot of the money was coming from in terms of Kickstarter, was his fans, who's such a sweet guy that always went 110%, loved him, loved being around him, hung out with him a few times after this film. They had him put the scalp on his head 24 times, Scott?
Wow.
And this is that like detergent blood, so it's like going into his eyes, and then they have to clean him up every time, but no direct, like nothing has to be done differently.
Oh, yeah.
He's not being told to do anything differently. He's just saying, reset, do it again, action, reset, do it again, action. And it's like 4 hours later.
It could have been 2 takes. There was no, he did it perfect every time.
Well, because that's got to be like, there goes a bunch of your budget. Like, I don't know what your budget was on like blood, you know, but if every single time, because I mean, even when he did that, I thought that was a hilarious kill. You know, after he did it, and then he threw it against the
almost
fucking
done, and I'll change it
door.
when we're done.
Yeah, but
here's
like the thing. He did that was an insert shot. So everything that he did was the acting, the lines, and then throwing it, right? It could have been done 2 takes. He did it exactly the same for 20 takes.
So here's a question then. What take did you use?
I probably used the first fucking take.
He's like, I used the second one, god damn it.
Maybe the second one. But it was
not the
20th.
20th.
Exactly the same, because Kevin he's an actor. I mean, this is a guy who created a genre of music in Skinny Puppy that was horror, techno, core. Like, it was a stage production. He knows what he's fucking doing. He did that rock opera. What was it called, Steve?
Repo.
Repo.
He did Repo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he was in Repo.
He was in Repo.
Yeah.
But the guy knows what he's doing. He knows about acting. You're not giving him any fucking direction. You're just telling him to just do it again. And he's going to do it again. And I'm watching this guy's eyes get bloodshot because this detergent blood, like in the middle of it, we had to stop Steve and give him a break.
Stop
he was
scaring them.
I can't fucking see.
One.
Damn.
Get away.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was pointless stuff. It was like pointless stuff like that where I needed one take and then I needed a cut to throw the thing on the window and then grab her. I mean, it was just such a simple thing. But you're sitting here going, I'm not stepping on the toes of this director. This is his baby. But there's a point where you go, why? Why are we doing more takes?
I definitely went from really wanting to help every day on set to like, nah, I'm just here to do literally what you're paying me to. Paying in quotes.
Yeah.
I got about half of what I was supposed to get, which is more than the other actors, apparently.
You got more than me.
Yeah.
Too bad, man.
But I mean, yeah, that is terrible.
Ask us about anything in the movie. Like, give me a sequence you want to know about.
The one that I mean, the one that kind of like bothered me is I forget the character, but he gets put on, or he wakes up on the ride. He's taped to the ride,
Tony,
and he just like his stomach gets slashed, and they start the ride. And I'm like.
Anthony's so pissed about this.
I was like, this is a ride-based kill. You can do something with this. It's like we watched, what movie was it? Aqua Slash, where like, I want to say conservatively.
The water slide, yeah.
Yeah, and the X blade on the water slide, and like 20 people die in this thing, and it's horrific and bloody and gross. And I'm like, fucking nailed it. The rest of this movie is But like this part... Idea. You justified me watching this.
Well, here's the thing. they had in the script, it was a Steve, I don't know if you
The swings.
swings. Yeah. So it was supposed to be the swings, and then they tie his guts to something, a pole or something, and then the swing goes and pulls his guts out. So that was the concept for that kill, was that the killer was going to pull his guts out, right? Because you see it in the movie. That's my hand pulling his guts out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's supposed to tie onto the pole at the beginning of a ride, and then he hits the
Okay.
And then he goes around the whole thing, which is a little kiddie roller coaster. So by the time he gets back to the start of it, all of his guts would have been pulled out.
See, that's funny because without you even saying that, it did that view from like in front of the ride and kind of like in front, like the driver headlight view, I guess is where it would be on a car.
Sure.
And then you see the pole sticking up, and you're just like, oh,
Right.
for sure.
That's what was the original
tied it.
idea. But here's what happened: is the makeup artist didn't know how to do it,
And he had nothing. I remember vividly, this was the day where instead of going to get the guts that he needed or getting the effect ready that they were shooting that night, this was the day he was in a hotel room the whole day taking naked photos of an actress instead of his job. And I was losing my mind, and I knew it wasn't going to work that night.
I called all these butchers in the neighborhood, and I said, we need pig guts.
Okay, that was going to be my question: is what are you using? Because my wife's a big Halloween decoration out front in our yard.
Okay.
So no, I can't do pig guts though.
No, but they said, I told them that these places were going to sell it to us, go pick them up, and he never did. So what he did is he put methyl cellulose in leggings or stockings. And then we shot it, and it looked like stockings.
I mean, it looked okay. You know, it was just
It didn't work. It didn't work. So what happened was we cut at I pull his guts out, we cut, and when we come back, we just said, when the ride stops hard, his guts are going to fall out. And then it's going to splash them. It didn't work. It didn't work because I had chitlins and I had, that's all I had. And it was like, we spilled them on the deck of this thing, and then it stunk like hell I threw everything out because it was terrible. But that was the shot because there was nothing else.
Well, there's plenty of telling people to film fake bloopers to make other people on set laugh at the director.
That was a terrible day. Yeah.
Days. That wasn't one day.
Yeah.
That was multiple times.
No, like it was, like I said, it was funny that you actually mentioned that because Anthony's so mad about that kill.
I was furious.
But that view,
Anthony, I wish it was better.
He wants the bad things that since you guys went through, like it really, like kudos for you, man. Like it turned out like pretty decent.
I busted my ass to get it done. I've never edited a movie before, and I hunkered down, and I was like,
seeing that, how you're saying you never edited, like it looks like it was very like I tried to edit a movie one time when I was in college, and not even a movie. I edited something. My brother was in high school, and he had to do it for like speech class, and I still have that shit. And I was like, "What the fuck did we even what?" Mm-hmm. So like,
it's
complete shit.
It's not.
But,
plus, you got to also consider me and Liz Rishel did the music and the sound effects for everything. It was insane 2 weeks of me and her taking this movie, making it a movie, and then the director was like, I need it because I booked the festival and we need to have it tomorrow. And it's like, what?
Damn.
So it was Carrie's a great salesman. He's like the Flavor Flav of film. He's the hype man. I mean, he will sell you, and you'll be like, "Fuck, that sounds great, man. I'm in." And he's good at that. But execution wise, and I love the guy. I mean, I worked with him for years, and he's a good guy, but he was just in over his head. He's like, "Shit, I got to make this now," and he didn't know how to do it.
But he also didn't ask for help.
That's
He
another.
didn't take any advice from anyone on the set that had more experience than him, and I'm not just meaning me. He didn't get any extra sets of hands.
Humility.
There was no humility. Again, like he would force people to consistently do like these fake dumb bloopers, and when I did an ad lib that I thought was kind of funny, he lost his mind and screamed at me and said, "I better never fucking do that again."
Yeah.
And then the AD went and talked to him and came to me and said, "Oh, Papa Bear is mad." I'm like, "Are you defending him right there? No, you fucking tell him to calm down, or I'm walking off the movie right now." And this was like in the mid of the 3 weeks on the set. Never mind. And then the worst example though was we wrapped that time, and then we had to come back in August to do all the office stuff, which was supposed to be a 3-day shoot. It happens, whatever, so we drive back to this park in August for a 3-day shoot. First day goes great. Like, it's going at the speed it should. They're getting what they should have gotten the first time. This is stuff that we should have gotten done months ago in April, but whatever. Then the second day also goes great, and I am thrilled. I'm like, finally, he got his shit together. I won't be mad at him. It is what it is. He was in over his head. He learned. He got a little humble. I can deal with this. I will be proud of this now. The end of the second day, we were supposed to come back the third day. The third day's plan was we start shooting at like 10, and then I should have been wrapped at around 4, give or take. I'm like, okay, cool. The end of the shooting day of day 2, he says, "So we're going to have our wrap party at the cabin house." And I'm like, that seems like a bad idea. Why don't we just finish tomorrow?
Yeah.
And have the party. He's like, "Oh, it's fine. We're just going to have some drinks." Like, "Oh, okay." So I went and had a couple drinks. I'm like, "Well, I'm going to go back to the hotel because we have shooting in the morning." They're like, "Yeah, sounds good." I'm like, don't party too hard. I wake up at 10 a.m. the next day. I'm sorry, I wake up at like 9 because my call time's 10. I'm dressed. I'm starting to walk to the set, and I get a call from Liz Rischel. She was wardrobe on set, and like as Scott said, she also was the co-creator for the music. Calls me and says, "I think we're the only ones awake. Everyone was blackout drunk partying until 7 a.m. today. I don't know what's happening. I just relax, I guess." I'm like, okay. I'm fuming, but I'm trying to stay calm. I go to Sheetz, which is like a local gas station that has like fast food and stuff. So that's my lunch. I go back to my hotel room. I'm watching Escape from LA. That's my morning. And I get a call from the director. He's like, "Hey, Steve." I'm like, "Hello." He's like, "Okay, so we partied a little hard last night." I'm like, "Yeah, I heard." "Okay, so here's the plan, Steve. We're gonna start shooting there. We're gonna get there at around 1 or 2, and we're gonna be shooting. Don't come to the location till 4. We're gonna get all of the dialogue without you first. So then when you get there, we're ready for it." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. At least there's a plan. You screwed up, but there's a plan." So I wait, I relax, I have a good time. This was in the office. This was like all the office shit. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what part of the office this third day was.
Yeah.
But I have the hotel another night that night, so it's not a huge deal. I'm not stuck there. It's fine. I put on my costume at like 3:55 because that's how close the office that we're shooting in is from the hotel. I walk into the office at 4 o'clock on the dot, and everyone's laughing. And Carrie looks at me laughing and says, "Oh, Steve's great at improv. This is going to be great." He's shooting fake bloopers with these characters. Fake bloopers with these characters. And he's just like, "Okay, so she's going to say something, then she's going to say something about his dick, and then she's going to say something about his dick, and then you just come in and say something funny, okay?
About his dick."
And then
About his dick.
she said something about his dick. She said something about his dick. She said something about his dick. And I caught into the shot and said, "Hey, can we make the fucking movie?" I found out that they didn't start shooting any of the actual scenes or script they were supposed to be shooting up to that point. So then I sat in costume at the office until 8 or 9 p.m. until they finally started filming with me.
Good God.
And that's when I went back to saying, fuck this movie, fuck this leadership. This is unprofessional. There is no excuse. This should not be happening. And we still had to go back to Coney Lake in like November or some shit, where I was on set at like 6 at night. They used me for one shot, and then I was sitting in my car until 6 a.m. And that's when I looked at the director and said, if you don't shoot this other scene that you need of me, I'm leaving right now and you're never going to get it. So then Scott and I got that shot in 2 seconds, and we were done.
Yeah.
You should have gone to like a skating rink. Oh wait, you said that was the first day that you shot. Never mind.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about that night. That Rhodey got so drunk.
What, bud?
Excuse me.
That he passed out in the shower.
Well,
What
we're
the
going to watch the
fuck?
thing in a
And
minute, okay?
I kicked down the door because he was drowning. I kicked
Man,
down
like,
the door and
that
saved
sucks.
this kid. And this was like, we're still shooting this fucking thing. It's not over. Why are we having this celebration party? Everybody's
don't-
hammered.
Don't get me started on Rhodey. You know, it's been so many years. I haven't heard from that guy since. Nice guy, no hate, no shade, but that guy could not act.
No.
Could not, and it drives
Which one?
us nuts.
Yeah.
Because we know people who auditioned for that part who were better. Scott, did you know Ben Diedel's auditioned to be Rhodey?
Oh, he would have been fucking perfect.
Which
Would have been
one?
incredible.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Which one is Rhodey? I'm sorry.
The nerd that put on the mask.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
yeah. In the beginning,
Okay.
yeah.
All of he only spoke in muffles.
Oh, okay.
Still couldn't understand him, even knowing that I read the script. And there's no reason for that because there's so many options. And to this day, I don't know why he was cast. And again, I don't want to shit on the actor because I love him.
Yeah,
I love him as a person.
great kid.
Great guy.
But
We got along great, but
me and my wife make fun of the one line where he goes, "We gotta get out of here."
Yeah, I thought that was going to be Blake.
Oh, okay.
Like I thought, because for the longest time I was like, "Oh, that's Blake."
No, but
And
he
then
was
it's
looking
like-
for Blake the whole movie, Brian.
Yeah, the whole fucking movie, you guys were looking for Blake, and then this guy shows up with a mask. I was like, "That's Blake. Blake, your girl's looking for you,
Well,
bro."
those scenes too, we shot. I said we have to do.
Not
We're going to do 2 teams because
Not
we
right
didn't
now, bud.
shoot any of that stuff.
Levi.
So I had Nathan.
Can you just
who
sit
was
and
the
watch the show,
cinematographer.
please?
He went out
No,
And he
not
shot,
right
like,
now.
a couple scenes,
Stop.
and then me and Ian did
One,
a couple scenes.
2.
What's the matter?
Stop, please.
Tell Levi to get on camera now. Busted.
Levi, knock it off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
no.
you know, since we're just all over the place, I'm just gonna think
Yeah.
of stuff that
Okay.
makes me mad.
I
Another
did-
one was
No, I did have one more.
sure,
Go ahead.
One more moment. Like
please.
the what was it? The main girl when she's handed the bottle of alcohol initially,
Mhm.
then she stares at the bottle like we're in an episode of Saved by the Bell and somebody just handed Zach Morris a joint. Like
We
this
don't ever
is
talk about Zach Morris.
like it felt like we're in the middle of like a don't do drugs like thing like
Mhm.
Yeah.
They could have this movie could have been so much more. As you said, there was a lot of missed opportunities. That sequence could have been hilarious.
Yeah.
It could
That's
have
a
been
great
pure
thing to play off of.
satire. It could have been like over the top, or they could have done the opposite and done it like a gritty version of that. And instead, it's like this weird in between. I don't know what the tone here is supposed to be. I don't know if it's supposed to actually be in the 80s because of the tone, or if you're homaging the 80s, but it's modern. All I know is that I had to put my hand out and take the car keys 17 fucking times.
God damn
Fortunately, I only had to drop it into the drawer twice. Thank God.
it. What?
But it's just another case of like, I don't get it. Also, every single time Henry performed the line, "I'll be back," he purposely put a pause in because he was like impersonating Arnold Schwarzenegger as a joke. And
Yeah.
I was the only person that laughed, and the director was stared at me like I was a freak. Like, what are you laughing at? I'm like,
That's fucking
do you
funny.
do you not know movies?
What are we doing,
Have you never seen a movie? Because that would explain a lot.
dude?
Well, the
No,
problem
and it was so like another funny thing. To Anthony brought up the alcohol, and we always joke about the magic beers. That how many kids were there? There were like 8 people, so you brought 6 beers and 2 bottles of liquor, and that's supposed to be the after party,
Yeah.
you know.
That's
And
the
so
right
then,
choice.
when he
Yep.
bought the 2 bottles of liquor, when he gave Wendy the Bacardi bottle, I love Bacardi, by the way. It was already half gone, and
Yeah,
you're
he
just like,
drank it on the way.
okay, that's what I was going to ask. I was like, did he drink that on his way? Because he's
That
like,
wasn't the intent, but that's what I say.
yeah, because he's like, God damn it, he already had a fucking issue. That fake ID, fuck that.
That was me. That was me.
I was about to, the beard, it was a little bit darker,
Yeah.
but I was like, I would never.
But when we did that whole scene, I was at my local beer distributor, and I was like, "How much stuff is he bringing?" And they were like, "Oh, just a 6-pack." And I was like, "We have like cases of shit everywhere." And they were like, "Nah, that's fine." Because I thought it would be funny if he's like just putting cases on the like 12-packs.
Yeah,
Right?
that would be funny.
But
If anyone else directed this movie, it'd be great.
Then it was funny though, dude, because you have a 6-pack of beer, and that dude fucking double fisted it.
yeah,
You're like, dude, you're just an asshole for double fisting a 6-pack. When
Maybe
there's
that was his beer. Maybe he was just asked to bring liquor and he bought himself beer because he doesn't like liquor.
and that
Who
whole
doesn't like
sequence
liquor?
was shot months afterwards because they never shot it on set and they needed it. So it was like, well, I can call my local distributor and ask them a favor, and I got us in there, and then we shot it in the park, like that big parking lot by my house.
No.
that parking lot was by your house? That wasn't even at the
Still
park?
No.
This whole movie is a
Barely
movie.
anything is shot in this park by the
God
end of this.
damn
It's
it.
ridiculous.
That's nuts.
One of the things that made me really angry in terms of actually shooting in the park is it's the shot of Wendy, the lead protagonist. I forget her character's name.
Shannon.
I don't know. Wendy at the top of the roller coaster.
Oh yeah.
So like there's parts of this roller coaster that are much lower to the ground, where like they could have had her lay on that, and like someone with the camera could have laid on the ground and shot up, and it would have looked exactly the same. And they made Wendy climb to like the highest point on the coaster to set the camera down, and she's terrified of heights. She's absolutely terrified. And of course the director didn't go up there to be like, I'm not going to make you do something I wouldn't do. No one else is up there. It was like Wendy and like one helper, who I think was Liz, who wouldn't have had the upper body strength to like catch Wendy if something bad happened. And at the end of all of that, like her putting up with that, like having the courage to do that, having the bravery to deal with that. And when I finally saw the movie, the shot is so close, you have no idea how high she is. So it's pointless. It was all for nothing. It was all that pain for nothing. And that's a really good way to sum up a lot of the film. Like, again, I don't want to insult the quality of the film. It's subjective. It has its fans. People like it, and that's fine. But in terms of like our experiences on the set, how we were treated, and the results simply aren't worth it, in my opinion.
I guess that's the thing that sucks, man. It's like you said, this is your third time on with us. For some reason, you keep coming back to be, talk shit with us drinking. But whenever we talk with you, like it looks like you just have so much fun when you're shooting.
Well, everyone on my set does except me. I'm very stressed out.
It was like, God damn it, Carl! I told you to fucking grab this differently.
But I don't want to compare me and Carrie Hill. Like I think that comes off as like a jerk thing to do. I'm not trying to be like I'm better than him. I don't want to be part of that sort of conversation.
No,
that's not cool. I don't like comparing myself, but I will say it is very important to me that everyone on my set gets treated as well as possible, and everyone is as comfortable as possible at all times, unless they have to do one uncomfortable thing. And even then, it is nothing compared to some of the stuff we were asked to do on this film, and it's nothing that I wouldn't do myself. And you can ask Scott when it comes to that.
Yeah.
See, and that's exactly what we're, kind of talking. We've had talks with other directors and everything like that, and they say that it's just fun. They say that one of the hardest things they do is be like, hey, stop laughing because we need to be serious now and do this, And so, like, it always seems so fun. Even when I was a kid, I was like, dude, I want to be like an actor someday. And, I wanted to be on like SNL and everything like that. But I think I'm too shy, which is why I start drinking, before I start talking with you guys because I'm just like, fuck, what if I make an ass out of myself?
I thought you were gonna say before I started talking.
Before I
I was too shy to start talking, so I just started slamming them back.
My
King
mom
of kindergarten, man.
Get this. Before I could walk, I was just drinking.
You know, it comes back to, everybody I met on the set of this film. I was fresh. Like, I didn't edit a movie. I didn't work on a movie set. I didn't know what was going on, but I met so many good people. And to this day, Steve and I have been working together, for years and years and are good friends.
No, that's awesome. Like I said,
you can't fuck over, not fuck over, but disrespect a person's time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was what motivated me and Liz to be like, we got to finish this movie.
Yeah.
And all this money was put into it, all this time was put into it. Respect the people who are involved. And that's really, Steve, no matter what set we're on, Steve respects everybody's time. And
yeah, it looks like you guys are having fun and everything. And so I guess that's the thing
we have fun, but it's also work.
Yeah, there's no fun. Like, you keep saying everyone's having fun, and that's not true.
No.
It's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's a comfortable set. Everyone's able to get along, and everyone does have laughs. But us respecting their time doesn't mean we're all having fun.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a difference between we're not here to have fun versus I want to fucking kill myself rather than come back to this fucking set.
Yeah, when we were,
final take.
When we were asking all these people to come back to do these shots, like Alicia did that. Remember that one scene on the carousel where all the bloody were up?
Yeah.
That was like weeks after because we needed that shot. And she was awesome, and she came and did it, and she drove home with bloody crotch. And
so did you guys just buy like a 1-day admission and then shoot it?
No, they let us keep going.
Wow.
Okay. We went there. There's a sequence in the beginning of the movie where we show the haunted house part and then parts of the park where there's people. And like, that was one of their events that we came back to. So that we can show people in the park and all this stuff happening. And then the park closed.
Okay.
Did you guys take away bumper cars? Because there's only 5 in the movie.
No, we didn't touch any.
God damn it. They fucking only have 5 bumper cars in the
not
park.
A big park, Brian. Jesus.
You got to try really hard.
People live in the patios up there, Brian. What the hell?
That's most of their crowd, Brian.
Yeah.
That was their
people that live there.
Transportation.
Yeah. It's not a very popular or big park.
That's what I was wondering because
it was perfect for the movie. But we never shot wide angles or.
That's why you had to have murders at the park so that way they would never close down.
But they should have done that. But
yeah. So like, I don't know, Scott. Like, I told like my 2 biggest hate memories from the set. I could keep going because I got plenty more. But like, do you have a specific, like, just pure full of rage? Like, what was like the peak day or night for you? I will say one of mine, before I let you answer because I'm an asshole, was that the entire fucking shoot and before the shoot and during the shoot and at all points, Carrie would not shut the fuck up about Jurassic Park and how much he loved Jurassic Park. And then we got this great kitchen scene, which is set up almost exactly like the kitchen from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And he did nothing to take advantage of it. And I was like, why don't you put the camera here like the Velociraptor? Why don't you have her hide here like the Velociraptor? Why don't you do anything?
Yeah. That whole sequence was, I think everything was afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, on the set, I was just kind of like, what the fuck? And then I was like, okay, we got to go back and shoot this stuff. I was pissed off about that because I was like, we need shots of this, we need shots of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I broke this off into the 2 teams. Remember that? Where it was like, I let Nathan do this. I said, you got to shoot this. Go. And then I was like, me and Liz are going to shoot this. And a lot of those shots connected sequences that we needed. And I was like, why do I have to do this? Why didn't we shoot this originally? But then it was more after the shoot where it was like, Kerry called me to his apartment when he said, "Oh, I have the third act done." And I remember telling you this.
Mhm.
He said, "Oh, I edited the third act. Come take a look."
Which is the best way to edit. You start at the end.
Yeah.
He's like, how should I start this story out? Maybe I should start at the end and slowly move forward.
I drive all the way out to his apartment, and we sit down, and he's like super excited, and we drink Yeti, and we're like, okay, let's look at this. And I'm looking at it, and I fucking turned white. Because I was like, this isn't edited. Is all this stuff missing? What do you...
Oh, you wanted me to edit it?
He was originally going to edit the movie. And then...
So what if it was?
It was shots that were out of sequence, kind of in sequence, but there was missing stuff. And I was like... I said, Kerry, come outside. I got to have a cigarette. And then he lost it on me, and I felt bad because he was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, man. Can you edit this? Because we need to have this ready in 2 weeks.
What the fuck?
2 weeks?
He wanted to premiere it at a Erie Film Festival or something that was going on, and he already booked it. And I said, no, you can't. This movie's not done. It's not going to be done. And then I became the bad guy. Because I was like, I'm going to take this on. I have no idea what I'm doing. But we got to do something. And then when I got all the footage, and this includes the Doug Bradley scene, and I was like, I got to overdub this. There's no kills here. There's no kills here. It took months. And then I was like calling out to people. I said, can we get Steve back to do, because we need to see, can we get Nicole back? Can we get Ian back? I mean, it was like I'm being the bad guy because I'm like, we didn't shoot this. We never shot this. Mm-hmm.
But I want to say it's because of you that the movie actually fucking came out, man.
Maybe, yeah.
You know? Like,
so you created Pandora's box, Scott. I hope you're happy.
But I was gonna ask you guys the question. I think there was a movie we watched earlier, and I was like, if they can, like, Brian knows the name of the movie. You know what I'm talking about.
Say it.
Don't be we can probably say it. Fish Piss. Like,
God damn it.
Fish Piss?
Like, there's this movie called Fish Piss, and it's literally like these 30-year-old guys that shot, what was it, on a VHS camera, and it looks like Bad Tim and Eric. Mm-hmm. Like, and even the video stuff, like they try to green color and it just smears the entire shot in green, and it's like, it's something. I was like, I watched that, I was like, if these guys can make a movie, I can make a movie. Mm-hmm. Like, and I was just wondering,
anybody can make a movie.
Yeah, like short question long. Like, was this kind of like an aha moment?
Yeah,
you know, like,
absolutely.
Like, it did show me what not to do on set as a director.
but you're like, I can do this better than this.
Well, I was already, again, like as Scott said, I was already directing up to this point. Like, Slasher Hunter had already been fully released. I was in pre-production for Everyone Must Die that I was going to start shooting when Scream Park wrapped. It got shot in the middle of filming Scream Park and came out a year before Scream Park, even though I started shooting after. And that's not a good movie. I'm not proud of Everyone Must Die, but I also had a budget of $3,000 for Everyone Must Die.
Yeah. And it was done on time.
But it is a case of, like, I already was somewhat experienced, but still seeing it firsthand was just like, how it's so obvious what not to do. Mm-hmm. And yet I'm watching it be done. Mm-hmm. And Scott can only comment his own subjective opinions, but like comparing to all of my later sets, for example, just from a directing standpoint and like a scheduling standpoint, it is a case of just like, I know what I didn't like being treated as. I know that I didn't like being called back for shooting months later, weeks later, and not getting paid. I know I didn't like getting paid my full amount. I know the other actors didn't like not getting paid at all. So it is a case where just like, okay, when I'm doing this schedule, we have this schedule, we can do this on each day, and then at the end we have one single day specified for reshoots. And if we don't got what we don't got by the end of that shoot schedule, guess what? We don't get it.
Yeah.
And that has never happened to Scott and I on any film.
No. Well, Steve and I met on this, and the first day I was booming. And I think it was the Tilt-A-Whirl scene with Nicole, like, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm booming both of them. And then Steve goes to me, he goes, you know what you look like you know what you
get
do.
out of there now. 1,
And I was like,
2.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, Steve. I just looked this shit up about how to boom a fucking movie character.
Which is more than the rest of the crew did.
And
except for Liz.
Yeah. I gotta say, Liz Rischel, she was the mom of this set, and she lost her mind because she's so meticulous. And she's like, we need to get this. We need to get this. And then it never happened. And then later on, it was like, Liz, we need to get this. And she's like, I fucking know. And I was like, well, we got to make him do it. And that was a lot of the times where, you know, I mean, I think if you look carefully, there's shots that you could see are completely different or look like they were shot out of scene.
But I'm
also, speaking of like splitting into two teams, to call back to that, a very similar thing happened on one of the nights we were in the bar, where they were filming the big air quotes here rape scene of Alicia's character, which they made a huge deal out of and then didn't do.
I was about to say,
but at the same time, they had me and Edwin be a B team to film the action sequence where like I and Wendy are like escaping from the Baghead killer. So I basically directed that scene. We got the whole action scene done, the whole sequence done in like maybe 2 hours. And then he was really mad about that for some reason and claimed the footage was super bad, and then went back the next night and we did the whole thing over again, except now it took 8 hours. And I'm pretty sure most of the shots in the final film are the stuff that Edwin and I shot.
Wow.
Because it was like the actual hecticness that the scene was supposed to be. And again, that is not me saying I'm a better director. I don't believe that. I don't believe in better or worse, but it was at least more efficient of our time. And it worked because clearly it's in the final film.
I think what the biggest downfall of what Carrier was trying to do was he was trying to think of it as a Hollywood production. He thought it was going to be Kubrick. And you're doing a shitty, schlocky slasher film that Kubrick wouldn't even touch. And you're treating it like it's... I think he was treating it like it was too important to him, and it got over his head.
Mm-hmm.
And everything had to be perfect, but he didn't know what perfect was. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in the midst of it, and you have all the people and all the environment that you need. As a director, and this is what Steve and I do, is we look at what's the shot need? What do we have it? Go. Now, is the performance good? Yes, move on. He didn't have the courage to do that.
It's that great quote from Tron Legacy. Perfection is unknowable, yet it's around us all the time. When any creator chases perfection, that's when they get lost in their journey. Because they probably already have it. But they're so hyper-focused on this one idea or vision, and then they go over schedule, then they go over budget, now they're losing quality, now they're losing everything that have been putting into it. Whenever I get asked, like as a director, like, oh, what's your advice for like first-time filmmakers? My go-to advice is learn the words good enough. That's not to say accept trash, like make sure you have good stuff, but if you have good stuff that works, even if it's not exactly what you wanted, you got your whole crew, you got your whole cast, you got your whole schedule, you got the whole film. You got to say good enough, moving on.
Yeah, you can't do
And
anymore.
this was a set where that never happened.
Yeah.
You hear that, Anthony?
I hear that.
So when I fuck up tonight, say, God damn it, Brian, leave it in.
The thing
Or I
is,
said, know that I fuck up.
I'm
knowing
working
when
on that.
something's good enough is hard.
Yeah,
It takes practice.
but we can move into our.
It's just it's fun though.
Yeah, it definitely is.
That's the most important part, I believe. And
Yeah.
then again, to you, Scott, like you made the movie.
You
like,
did.
I did
It's
what
so
I had to do. I did what I had to do. That's all.
you do what you had to do. You made.
That's it.
You
No,
know,
I did what I had to do out of respect for everybody involved. That's it.
out of lemons. Is that what they say?
Yes,
I'm
I made
making lemons
lemonade.
out of lemon or lemonade out of lemons.
What's an alcohol version of that?
Mike's Hard Lemonade. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
I mean, not Mike's Hard. Dude, it's like, hey, Brian, go to my house. I'm having a party. I got a case
Okay,
of Mike's
you made
Hard.
vodka out of potatoes.
There you go. See,
There
that
you
one's
go.
a good one. All right.
But I
was like, hey, Steve, you want to
gotta
come over and
give
drink some
respect.
Mike's Hard?
I got to give respect to everybody involved with the movie,
Mhm.
including Steve and all the actors. But me and Liz Rishel, I mean, we busted our ass to get this thing made. If you enjoyed the movie to any extent, then yeah, it was because we willed this thing into existence.
Yeah, this is
Mother-
Scott worked so hard, Liz worked so hard, and the entire cast really worked so hard.
So good.
And it's such a bummer that like the other important aspects felt like they weren't working as hard.
Yeah.
It felt that way. I don't want to be too accusatory. I don't want to directly insult anyone, but it is that case where it's just like, I mean, I've come off as the most mean I've ever been in any of our interviews, and that I ever am in life, but it is because of this movie and this experience,
Yes.
and how I was treated on set and off the set afterwards by this guy in very toxic and negative ways. But at the end of the day, missed opportunities is the best way to sum it up.
And I hope Carrie learns from this experience. And
Well, based on the script for Scream Part 2, he did not, because that was the worst thing I've ever read in my life.
we're not going to talk about that. But
I'll say that he killed me off between sequels,
Oh, yeah,
between
he
films,
totally-
because he didn't like me.
but if he
It was a
can,
mow in the yard accident.
I hope he brings to his next set
Let her
some knowledge from the experience on his first set. You got to respect your actors, not just their time, but their work and
And their feelings.
their feelings. And don't waste time on what. Don't. Your goal isn't looking for the lightning in a bottle. It's creating the lightning. You understand what I'm saying? There's a difference. You have to be the captain. You have to say, guys, this is what we're doing right now. Let's do it. Don't make somebody do 15 takes and not tell them what's wrong. It's disrespectful to everybody involved. That's the crew, the camera guy, the sound guy, and the actors who are in front.
Just saying it'd be exhausting for no reason.
It was, because you lose your drive. As an actor, I was
Right.
losing my enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I was losing my good performances because of how long it was taking and how tired I was and how miserable I was getting. And, I tried my best. Everyone tried their best. And I think that we got still, in spite of leadership, some good performances in this film. But that is a testament to how great Wendy is, for example. Like, she was so good, and she still does a bunch of stage stuff, and I love that. Nicole was great. She kind of got out of movies after, like, a couple ones after this, and that's a bummer because she was great. The guy who played Roy, he was a joy.
He's not doing anything. Well,
And he's not, but, part of me asks, is it because of this experience? Am I only still in the game because I was already an idiot doing it beforehand? I don't know. But Anthony, you're saying you wanted to move on to something. Was it a specific topic or question?
I'm going to tell you a secret. I used most of the first and second takes.
But I was gonna say we could move on to our hard hitting questions.
Go ahead.
Well, Steve knows about the Harv hitting. The Harv hitting.
The hard
All right.
hitting.
Well, Anthony, good luck recording with me tonight.
I know.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to stop. You can't drink all day if you don't start in the
All right,
morning.
hard hitting questions. Let's go.
All right. I'm sorry. Steve's cut me off.
Oh,
am I doing one of them?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna go first.
Oh, fuck me, right? So, Steve, you're more than welcome 100% to answer this, but you also don't need to answer it. Suggestion, Scott.
Mhm.
We always ask for suggestions to movies that we should watch and do an episode on.
Mhm.
So if you could tell us a movie, or, if you got a couple of them, if you really want us to do a movie or do an episode, or if you would suggest, hey, if you guys haven't seen this movie yet, let us know.
I mean, When Evil Lurks. Have you seen that?
I've seen the trailer for that. Yeah,
You
looks
have to
interesting.
see that movie. 100%.
When Evil Lurks.
When Evil Lurks. It's a Spanish film.
You know what?
It's
All right.
absolutely phenomenal.
Okay,
Super
okay,
gory, super creepy. You're talking about like independent stuff?
Yeah, we try to stay independent.
I mean, that's
We
kind
are-
of independent because it's a foreign film. A lot of people really dig.
Have you seen Murder Size yet?
I see
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
Love
that's
that
a good
movie.
one.
I mean, I got a lot of friends in that one, but even ignoring that, I had a good time.
It was,
Which
yeah, it was
I
actually
did
fun.
notice you have Jessa Flux in your next one.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I mean, we first worked with Jessa on Shingles, and she was phenomenal on set. And then she just liked working with us. We were like, we can give you this bit part in Carousel 3. She was like, hell yeah! And then when we announced Curtains, she came to us and said, "Can I please be in this movie?"
Curtains for Christmas, everybody.
At this, I don't know when this episode is coming out, but at this point, the Kickstarter should be over and should be successful
Hopefully,
because we are only like $900 away.
Yes. Awesome job.
I mean, I'm just going to pay out of
Oh.
pocket if, like, the last hour it's still not there. Like,
I gotta tell you, Steve in Carousel 3 script and then this script, an original IP, it's phenomenal. It's a entertaining, crazy. It's such a good story that, yeah. I mean, we need more of this stuff. I mean, with independent stuff, I don't want to hear about, Crackoon, Cocaine Bear, or whatever shark
Crackoon?
doing meth.
Yeah,
It's like, come up with something original. I mean, Carousel was original. And then he came up with Curtains for Christmas, and I was like, this is great. I totally get where this is coming from. It's hilarious.
thanks, Scott.
I don't like, squid octopus versus shark alligator, whatever the fuck. It's fun for a lot of people, but it's nothing. It means nothing. And those guys have budgets that are quadruple, what we get. We're just
That's
trying to make
insane.
movies that are entertaining, that are original.
Exactly. That's why we started doing this.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you any original indie things that I've seen in the last year or two. No. I don't know.
all right. That's fine. That's
I
fine.
apologize.
But you kind of like jumped into the next one already. I was going to ask about the it's Curtains for Christmas, right? I want to make
Yeah.
sure I say that right.
Yes.
If there's anything you can tell us about that.
It hits the.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the story, it is a parody of Christmas rom-coms. It is about a woman named Holly who loves Christmas romantic comedies. It's her favorite genre of movie. But she just has a boring life. Like her boyfriend isn't interesting. Her ex-boyfriend wasn't interesting. I mean, and like she just does accounting, so it's all numbers. But she wants that Christmas joy, and she meets a generic white handsome man, just like in every Christmas rom-com. while Christmas shopping and decides that she's going to force her life to be a Christmas rom-com. So she breaks into someone's house and says, "This is the perfect Christmas house. I'm going to have Christmas dinner here." And she makes the people that own it, "You're going to be my parents or I'll murder you." Then she's just like, "Wait, I need some siblings," because there's always siblings. So she goes, kidnaps a couple burglars and says, "Hey, you're my siblings or I'm going to murder you." The neighbor comes over. She stabs him in the neck and says, "See?"
Good God.
And so she
Hallmark
just wants the
you up
most
already, or
perfect Christmas Eve dinner so she can fall in love and live happily ever after. But there's a lot of insanity that happens. One of the best sequences is when she finds out that Jay's character, Jay is her love interest in the film, he's married. And she does not take that very well at all. So we're going to have a shootout sequence that we want to be as brutal as Ed 209 shooting the CEO in the opening of RoboCop,
Oh,
and
wow.
just destroy this woman as she's screaming, firing the whole time. And then she cuts off the woman's face, puts it on
There you go.
like a mask, and then comes out to Jay, now with a southern accent, which Jay's wife did not have, and says she wants a divorce, and Jay buys it because that's what kind of movie this is.
It was pretty solid.
That's
Well, I
amazing.
gotta tell you, he kind of sold it, but it's way more twisted.
I'm
Yeah,
ready.
like this movie
Really
has
gory.
the highest effects budget of any movie that we've made.
Yeah.
Higher than Carousel because there's less characters and less locations. Higher than Shingles because most of that was actors and locations and stuff. This has the highest effects budget of any of our films because we wanted almost all of the kills to be some of the goriest kills that we've done.
Yeah.
Some of the more intense kills. Like I'm not saying that everything is going to beat like Pez Dispenser in Carousel 1 or like the face melt in Carousel 2. But in terms of like a slasher movie of a human being killing people, we wanted to
more intense. Yeah. I mean, in the script, they're fucking brutal, but it's hilarious.
I was catfished like this exact same story last year. It was really weird. But
glad you got out.
You gotta understand, you mix intense gore with hilarious comedy, you can't lose.
Exactly.
And I keep on saying to people, like my fans and like people that don't know me as well, but if you do know me, you know that I take certain things very seriously. Comedy, gore,
And Christmas.
and Christmas.
You son of a...
And this movie is it's almost like a celebration of like my greatest hits because it is it's basically Carousel 1 and Amityville Christmas Vacation. And then there's also a fake movie in the movie called A Cheesy Christmas that's about talking animals. So it even has some of my meowies in there. So it's the Steve Rudzinski greatest hits film, except it's totally original. It's an original IP, and it's meant to be a one and done. It is meant to be a one film thing. We are not planning sequels. If people want to give us money, I'm a horror. I'll always do anything. But that is not the plan like Carousel was a trilogy.
The script is phenomenal, and you will feel for this psycho character woman that Tracy is playing, that Helene, I'm sorry. It's fucking hilarious.
It sounds awesome.
It sounds and
I'm not biased. I'm not being biased. I'm talking from an outsider. You know, he lets me read this stuff, and I go, "Yep, it's gonna work."
I mean, even the storyline itself, right there, is hilarious. Any idea when we can look for it?
Oh, so we're going to be... The Kickstarter should be wrapping up. We're going to immediately start casting. I don't like to cast until I know I'm making the movie because I don't like to waste people's time. I see some campaigns where like they have the whole cast list and like that helps raise the money. But in my mind, I'm just like, are you telling these people to take off work and stuff like months ahead of time and you don't even know you're making the movie? So we got to cast fast. We're going to shoot the fake movie within a movie stuff probably sometime in April. Then we're going to shoot a couple of the kills that are like in other locations in like May. And then the main shoot schedule will be in June. You know, we got a great place already scouted out and rented. We're going to get it all together. I'm cutting this one myself because I'm pretty quick at it and I know exactly what I'm looking for visually. We should barring something horrible happening, which is always a chance with creative work,
Like this.
this should be out by November 2024, if not earlier.
Christmas release. Or close to
Christmas.
If,
All right.
if my best plan would be to get it done in September or October, so I can submit it to the streaming services,
Yeah.
so they put it on the services in November. But I don't. That's kind of out of my hands.
it. Yeah, and
I
I'm
know
going to
this
be
guy
working on it.
Scott Lewis now.
I'm going to
He
be
can do
working.
stuff within 2 weeks.
What?
I said, I know this guy Scott Lewis. He can edit everything in 2 weeks.
I'm going to be working on it as much as I can because I'm working full time right now. So, but Steve knows that, you know, I'll help him out. I'll be working on it when I can. Let's just say that. As much as I can.
Well, that's awesome, guys.
Cool babies.
I think my kid has been wanting to say hello and meet you guys. This kid right here,
Mhm.
that's pissing off of the porch. Oh,
Hi, buddy.
This is Steve.
Hello.
How you
If you
doing?
guys ever,
How's it going?
if you guys ever need a tall 9-year-old,
I'm sure we could kill him in something, yes.
there you go. If you're ever out in Vegas, or if you want me to mail him to you, I'm not going to fly him.
Oh my gosh, Scott! I forgot to tell you while you're here, since we're talking about curtains for Christmas.
Right.
So the kid that played Child Adolf Hitler in Carousel 2,
Yeah.
Jesus.
I reached out to his mother to be like, hey, would he be okay being in another movie? Because he's like
He
14,
was great.
and like he's a good actor. Like he does a bunch of stage work, and he has my hair color. Like he has like my nose. So it's just like, yeah, we can sell this as like my son.
Just-
She's like, that's fine. He would love to do it. Just to let you know, he's 6'2" tall.
What?
Jesus.
And I'm like, I mean, he's not meant to be a little tiny boy, but I can't have this child be taller than I am the killer.
I'm 6'2", and I think my dad's like 5'11", 5'10"-ish, you know?
Yeah.
And she's short, so it must have come from
No,
that
this guy's,
tall semen.
he sprouted up fast.
Yeah.
I'm
All right, well, you're in, buddy. So get ready.
You're in.
I'm about 4'11". My uncle's like 6'6".
Okay.
We're still waiting for the Murray show to let me know if I'm really the father. I'm really hoping I get a good one.
Maybe you got a little DeVito there.
He's 9,
He's going to be like, hey, where's the hole is at?
right? Twins. It's the movie Twins.
Steve, I have a question for you
Yes.
too.
This is all off. Here we go.
So, Dan, how long did it take you to film the movie?
Which movie?
Dan,
Any.
which one are you
Carousel.
the one that you're currently talking about?
Yes.
Okay, the whole God. Well, you missed that whole conversation,
Yeah.
buddy.
You need
The short version of the answer.
You did.
I just acted in this one. I didn't make this one, but this one took a very long time to make because it was not properly scheduled or planned out. So it was supposed to be like a 1-day shoot, then a 2-day shoot, and then a 2-week shoot.
Yeah.
Or
Do you want me
3-week
to
shoot.
fill-
It's been a while. And then we had to go back months later, and we were there for a week. And then we had to go back months later. We were there for several days. Then we had to go back months later again to get 1 day of shooting to finally get it done. And that was just for me. Never mind what the guy with the beard had to do. So it took almost, I would say, over a full year on and off of shooting.
But
And then,
average, though, what we do to film a movie when me and Steve are working together, like Carousel 2 weeks to film.
Okay.
and that's it. And then it'll be like anywhere from a few months to like maybe more than that to put the movie together and like the editing.
Yeah.
And then it's good to go.
Yeah.
But that's what a proper plan does, honestly.
Boom.
My second question is
What? You got a second one? You got a
He
rebuttal?
actually has 37 in a row.
Just fire them off.
He's got questions I want to hear.
I want your honest opinion, but do you think Carousel would have been never mind.
You're getting
No,
shot.
ask it. It's okay.
Go ahead, man.
Don't be embarrassed.
It's
I'm
fine.
curious.
The one that you're currently doing. The guy.
He's an actor in
Mhm.
Scream Park.
Yeah,
He-
that one.
Okay.
Do you think you would have filmed all of it faster if everybody listened to you?
If we're just speaking faster, yes, I can objectively say I don't feel bad about saying this because I think Scott would. I think everyone on this
I
set
agree.
would agree that if I was scheduling that movie and calling the shots, it would have been done faster. I'm not going to say it'd be better. I'm not going to say it'd be a better movie.
Done fast.
I don't know. That's fine. I'm not. I'm not going to say that though because I'm already coming off like an egotistical jerk
So
in
if a
this
9-year-old
interview.
No, not at
But
all.
it absolutely would have been done faster and on time. I 100% believe that.
I concur.
Simply based on all the other movies that like I made and like Scott and I made.
Yeah. What other questions you got, man? You got great questions. Come on.
Yeah, we like these. These are great. This is what we were waiting on from these two guys.
We don't know
should-
what we're doing,
Professional written out questions.
right? He should have been having he should have been drinking the whiskey.
Fine.
the
Go,
whole time.
go in the kitchen and let him fucking take over. Come on.
All right, sit down. I'm leaving.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, but
I thought you were being serious.
all right, I'm about to. My drink's almost done.
Hey,
But
buddy. Thank you.
Thank you
No,
for those questions. Yeah.
so tell him, yeah, always appreciate it. Appreciate you,
Definitely
including
appreciate
this
you
dude. Steve, this isn't the first time you've met him, right?
No, not at all. Yeah.
Yes. Usually I'm in my office, but anyways, no, I think that's all we've got,
Yeah,
right?
Anthony, you got
Yeah.
anything
Surprise
for
at
us?
the end with the guest appearance of Kane,
So that-
but
It's Kane.
yes,
Anthony,
They
what do you
asked
want to?
about-
What do you want to get on into?
Yeah.
Well, I got to start wrapping up because I gotta get to making dinner here in a minute.
Okay.
But like the final thing we normally stop with is if anybody is like,
Oh,
how do I, Brian? How do I word this so it doesn't sound stalkery?
No, you gotta do it, man. I always sound like the creeper.
Like if people are trying to follow you on the interwebs,
Yeah.
how would they get a hold of you?
Well, don't get a hold of me. Get a hold of him.
Get a hold of it.
Don't fucking bother me. No, but Steve's got. Get ahead, Steve.
Yeah. So if this episode is the first time you've ever heard me speak, I apologize. I swear I'm usually a way more laid back guy that isn't mean or angry about anything. This is just a sore topic for Scott and I.
Yeah.
But if you want to see some of my films, which I'm not saying anything about being better, but we're done faster, you can head over to silverspotlightfilms.com. That's my physical store for all of my movies. You can head over to stevebuster.com. That is my Patreon, where you can see all of my films digitally. There's a $3 tier, which is just all of my modern movies and a couple exclusives I shot for the service. And the $5 tier is all of the bonus features that I've ever shot, plus even more exclusives I shot for the service, and Discord access for the Silver Spotlight Films Discord. We have a lot of fun in there. It's been kind of silent this month because I'm focusing on Curtains for Christmas, which is hopefully coming later this year in 2024. So keep an eye on my websites for that. I am on Twitter at Steve Rudzinski, and I am on Instagram at Dark Mullet. But there, I am also able to be found on Facebook, where I am a public page. And if you just search my name, Steve Rudzinski, you will find me. I'm the only one that looks like Steve Rudzinski.
If you do release your movie around Thanksgiving time, that would be, my wife's birthday-ish. It would be pretty funny if down the road we're like, what happened on your birthday, Mom? We're like, well, this fucking movie came out.
It's
Boom.
a great holiday movie. It's a Christmas movie, but it would work for
I mean, Thanksgiving is basically Christmas. It's Christmas part.
True, yeah.
Pretty much.
Exactly. Then 3 weeks later, you have Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's practice Christmas without the gifts, but it's the same thing. It's the family, the food.
It is. Fuck your turkey up on Thanksgiving, and then you know how to make it correctly on Christmas.
Bingo.
Boom.
Oh, Thanksgiving. There you go. That's another horror movie I'd like you to watch. That's
Oh yeah,
what's Thanksgiving.
Come out
I haven't
Netflix.
seen that yet, yeah.
It's actually really good.
it is good.
I do like slasher movies, so I'm always game to watch a new one, no matter what.
All right.
Oh, I'll give you a good suggestion. You should watch this little heard of show. I don't think it's really low key. No one's ever heard of it. It's called Columbo. Started watching it this past year, and it's pretty good.
Fuck it.
God. I know we didn't even ask Steve. We're
I
like,
love
Steve already.
Columbo, dude. Columbo's the shit.
No, really, I never started watch. I never knew about the character like prior to like in the past year, and I watched one episode, and immediately I was signed on. Kino Lorber did a Blu-ray set of the first 7 seasons, like the 70s decade, and it's so crisp because it's a 4K scan of the original film, and it looks so good. We've been just blasting through every episode because it's like so excellent, and I wouldn't have expected that from like 70s TV where there was a lot of schlock.
Then you got to watch Barney Miller, dude. That's your next one. Barney Miller was the best.
Okay.
Yeah. That's me and Steve. Not.
But no. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Scott,
Nice.
love to have you back on. Steve, as always, man.
Thanks
Fucking
for having
pleasure,
me.
dude.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
don't think Anthony got to see the oh wait, he did at the beginning. But no, congratulations again, Steve, the greatest Amityville movie maker.
Yeah.
He's got the
It's a
trophy to
fact.
prove it. So shut up. Hey, if you could send us a fucking picture of it, dude, we'll post that shit.
I would.
I mean, did you not look at the Kickstarter for Curtains for Christmas? Kind of outing yourself here right now. Because there's a picture of me kissing it right on the page. So good to know. Thanks for the support,
Well,
That's a good
asshole.
thing. That's different.
definitely going to support.
All right. This is now
But
Kane.
grab the picture because it's great because I'm just like smooching it, but it's mostly of the statue.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All
thank
right.
you guys again. As always,
Thank you,
please,
guys.
if you guys ever want to jump back on, love to have you.
All right.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
All right.
And good questions.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. This podcast is available on all major podcast networks and YouTube. If you like what you're hearing, please follow, like, and subscribe on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.